Dear colleagues, greetings. My apologies, I can't join you for the training sessions this week, but thank you for your understanding. But I'd like to present an overview of the special projects of OUCSCA. So let me fire up our PowerPoint. Just give me a moment. Okay, so OUCSCA, the Office of the Undersecretary for Civilian Security and Consular Affairs, has supervises four units of the DFA. The Office of Civilian Security, Office of Consular Affairs, the Overseas Voting Secretariat, and DFA Mindanao. So if we were to summarize our what we do for the department and our constituents, both Filipinos and the global community, we can sum it up as protection, empowerment, and service. We protect through civilian security, empower through our overseas voting operations, and 99% of the contact of the public with the Department of Foreign Affairs is through our consular services. And we have aspects of all three as we supervise the work of DFA Mindanao. So our approach that we are taking with our work is the One Planet Team approach, or OPTA. So this is essentially an expansion of what we know as OPTA, the One Country Team approach. So again, this has been instituted for the span of our work with civilian security, overseas voting, consular, and Mindanao concerns. So we would holistically like to work with the same fundamentals of team spirit with OCTA. We'd like to share and institute with all our colleagues and all foreign service posts, as well as our honorary consulates. So this would also help to clarify and to further our relationship with service attaches. And also, we could also help plug in the gaps with regards to operations where attaché offices do not have a residential office, as well as fellow Philippine government agencies which do not have a physical attaché presence, such as the Commission of Filipinos Overseas, CHED, and so on. Now, we are instituting also aguhon, meaning compass, which is a fruit of the very successful recent conference of the Philippine Studies programs, which are supported by the DFA. We had, and this was organized by the Office of Cultural Diplomacy. And one of the very intriguing sessions was on the question of whether or not there is a grand strategy pursued by the Philippines. You would think perhaps there is not, but nevertheless, the panelists led by UP Poli-Sci Professor Aries Arugay postulated that kahit papano, there is, because we might have pendulum swings in terms of our aspects of our foreign policy, nevertheless, there is a consistency articulated by the Career Foreign Service and our security sector colleagues who will base pronouncements and on the Constitution, the fundamentals of Philippine foreign policy, our various treaties, and so on, which is a consistent line. So we serve as essentially as a compass of state, regardless of the pendulum swings higher policy pronouncements may dictate. So very much we are, and the Filipino term word for compass is aguhon. So please join us. Well, our initial session will be this Monday, and we'll have subsequent sessions online. And again, this would be covering the civilian security, focus on the civilian security aspect of our work, ergo the political security pillar of DFA's pillars of foreign policy. Next is one of the tasks of OUCSCA and OCS is to lead the Philippine International Humanitarian Assistance Cluster, part of the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, our disaster management body. So PHAC was formed after the lessons learned in Super Typhoon Yolanda 2013-2014. So we are intensifying and enhancing our role. And one of the, among our key activities this coming year is the holding of tabletop exercises for the Metro Manila earthquake, invasion and subsequent refugees that would come in the country, and terrorist siege. DFA has been invited for the first time to actively participate in the upcoming Balikatan exercises conducted by the DND AFP. And also in firming up and expanding our PHAC network and development, we encourage our colleagues in the Foreign Service, and if you're not already, to join the Armed Forces, the Philippines Reserve, the PCG Auxiliary, Philippine Red Cross. We are working with ROTC NSTP units, the Bayanihan Corps, which was discussed with you by OMA, Office of Migration Affairs. OUCSCA is supporting that. And there's a new initiative called the Green Helmets, which is a environmental protection body under the UN. So we are closely networking with these various stakeholders, and also there are pathways for you to actually join and be part of these various organizations. Now, we have CLAD, also City and Local Authority Diplomacy. So this is the development of our assigned task by Secretary Ricky Manalo, where and again, as this is through our part of our work with DFA Mindanao and support of BARM, we are developing the international relations focal points of BARM and the LGUs in Mindanao by providing training and closer networking with Foreign Service posts and overseas Filipino communities. So we would also like to therefore see closer consular coordination also with our existing sister city and local authority partnerships. But of course, new sister cities relationships will be conducted though by UBRAA and the geographic offices. So again, just be assured that we will be sending you supplementary information on how to be involved with these projects. So Diplomatic League, which we found in 2014 when I was ASEC of UNEO, is our youth and overseas Filipino and young professionals engagement platform. So we have started a project called PIPER, the Philippine International Political Empowerment Roundtable, which has a twofold mission to expose Filipino students to mainstream ideologies, because to be quite frank, much of the more proactive exposure of our youth tends to be with one side of the political spectrum. So last week, we had a successful session inviting the German political Stiftung or foundations to expound on their respective ideologies and projects. So we're also encouraging members of the Filipino diaspora to run for political office in their new countries of citizenship, settlement, and so on. We were proud that in New Zealand, where I had the honor of serving as ambassador, we already have two full-blooded Filipinos, but across the political spectrum, one with the Conservative National Party and one with the Greens. The Diplomatic League offers also a externship or online internship for youth, and even anyone actually is welcome to join to do their requisite internships, which is required for their baccalaureate programs, but also for professional development. Again, we will be circulating more information on these, but we have an active Facebook page diplomatically for more information. Our flagship leadership program is called VAMBA, the Volunteer Ambassadors Leadership Program. And in the Philippines, the consequence of joining the externship is also to become you become a VAMBA. And by the way, our externship and VAMBA program is formally recognized by a number of universities, including De La Salle University in Taft. We had started this also when I was in New Zealand. Also, it became a leadership platform for Filipino community leaders, including our Filipino community leaders in Hong Kong. And they are emphasizing their role as advocates for reminding everyone to vote, to participate, and actually vote online as they have registered and will be enrolling for internet voting. We're also supporting the Philippine Studies programs, which are coordinated by Office of Cultural Diplomacy with university colleges and high schools. We like to support this globally, and we see that there's, we're proudly hosting the next ASEAN Summit next year. But we'd also like to see deeper engagement beyond Asia with the Anglosphere, the Latin community, and Europe. Now, Consular Nexus is our mode of synergizing work with the various branches of our consular family, OUCSCA, OCA, and our various consular offices around the country, our consulates general overseas, and including our consular sections of embassies, our honorary consulates, DFA Mindanao, as well as foreign consulates in the Philippines and Mexico. And we will be particularly coordinating closely with our ASEAN colleagues and the ASEAN Plus 3, because as you know, we have a framework of cooperation with ASEAN member countries for consular assistance to our nationals around the world. Then, as our in-house training arm, we've established the Diplomatic and Consular Arts and Sciences Academy, or DICASA, which will be our in-house training wing of UCSCA. We're still, of course, coordinating with FSI, but as you know, FSI has its core mandates and its particular foci. So the CASA will be providing additional training in-house, as well for our allies, LGU officials, honorary consuls, and the private sector. So we'd also like to push the envelope on developing diplomacy as a distinct profession. So we like to see in the long term that upon retirement, we could serve as chief diplomacy and international relations officers, or CIDIRO. Like, as you know, corporations have various C-level officers like the chief executive officer, chief financial officer, so on. But we now see very specialized officials such as chief information security officer who are not CIDIRO. And also there are those who study diplomacy or also but do not necessarily enter into a career in the foreign service or as an international civil servant. So they could become DIROs or DIRAs, but under our tutelage. And so also in the long term, DFA should really be proactive, providing consultancy to our various stakeholders and allies. We also began the Lipunan ng mga Pangdaigdigan Dalubhasang Pilipino, LPDP. No, it's not a party or party list party. It is the Society of Global Filipino Professionals. Since going around the world, we see that among the most effective and dynamic Filipino community stakeholders are the professionals, particularly. So who are the global Filipino professionals? There are those who are members of professions regulated by the PRC. There are professionals who are professionals, but are not necessarily holders of PRC recognized credentials, such as lawyers who are under the bar administered by the Supreme Court, we diplomats under the BFSA, BFSE, CESOs, business executives, academicians, so on. And then there are those professions which are recognized overseas but are not quite yet fully have a body within the Philippines, such as certified management accountants, licensed practical nurses, and then practitioners of skilled trades and experts. So this is networking and support for such professionals who we are beginning to tap as advocates again for overseas and internet voting. So we are also looking to tap them to mentor our youth and young professionals, promote Mindanao development. We're also using this as a platform to liaise with various professional educational bodies, including PRC, CHED, TESDA, DepEd, and various associations. We're looking at establishing programs for second-generation Filipinos. And interestingly, in a recent trip to Japan, even the Japanese themselves said they recognize our proficiency in English and it's worthwhile looking at developing training programs for Japanese in technical English. They were citing particularly our very well-developed journalism sector. Then we'd also use this as a platform to further advocate for the professional development, career advancement, and recognition of our professionals overseas, and upskilling training for overseas Filipinos, Filipino workers, which we are coordinating with the DMW and CFO. And one of the concrete measures is helping to enhance and have countries and profession-specific PAOSs and PIDOSs. And we're very inspired by your work, our dear colleagues in the FSPs. So we will be requesting your help and input and contributing your best practices for these various programs. So that's it, dear colleagues. And again, sorry, I wish I could be with you guys, but you are in the good hands of the COMELEC and Bob Quintin and our team from the OVS. Maraming salamat po, and have a great training session this week. Take care. Bye-bye. God bless.